I got the idea for a video about, I had a thought in my mind. I was talking with a friend last night, and we were talking about the sort of way that, I wonder it's so hot in here. Anyway, the way that religious people go about things, like, for example, go to worship or whatever, sing some songs, act all spiritual, and then go back to normal life. And very few people actually are consistent with this spirituality, where they are always showing a sort of a spirituality, as in how they treat people. And we were just talking about it, and you know, it's really, it's sad, because it's just human nature, really, and that's the point. The point is, no one's perfect, and no one's gonna be perfect, if there's such a thing. And so that's just the way it is. And if you really think about it, no one really does that at all. No one's truly, if they're honest with themselves and everyone else, they're not gonna say, you know, like, I'm a spiritual person, because they're gonna mess up at some point. They're gonna, you know, treat people wrong. It's just the way it happens. You know, you can try to be a good person, and you try and you just hope for change in your life, and you work at it. You have to work at it. And we were talking about that as well, how people say it's just like 2 parts Christ, 1 part you, or something. Well, I had the thought that it's 2 parts you, 1 part God or Christ. And you know, I don't really know where I'm going with this all, but the point is, it's just what I observed. It's just, I always found it bizarre. People go pray and sing and have this big show, and then they just go back to normal. It's like, it was like church camp. Like, it was like that in church camp all the time, where we would go for a week, feel awesome, cry a little even, and then it's back to normal. And what's the point? You know, to feel for only a week that you're closer to God, and that was what everyone said. Oh, I just feel close to God, or whatever. And it's always uncomfortable when you get down to it and start thinking about how, like, church camp works, because it's not like you're doing work for Christ in an explicit way. It's mostly, you know, having fun, enjoying the camp and your friends, and singing, and then you go home. It's not like a mission where, you know, you go help people. In general, at least, you know, most church camps or Bible camps, it's just a camp. And so began over time, especially when I lost faith, I began to re-examine what was going on. And what happens is, well, what I observed, what I thought about church in general was that it was just a show. It's just to get you pumped up, make you feel good maybe for whatever. And I'm talking singing, guitars, it's like a rock concert. So that bothered me because I didn't really know anything else other than American Christianity, American Protestantism, the whole dealio with evangelical style stuff, and I wasn't shown a deeper spirituality, so to speak. It was just always your feelings, how it's like on fire. It was always on fire. You talk about getting on fire, and then you go back to normal, and then you have to do it again. And our church has, my old church had a reignite thing every February, where it was basically that idea, make sure this doesn't overheat, in February, it was designed to reignite the mission for these local churches in the Methodist council. So that's what that was. It was called Reignite. So fire, flames, all that thing. It's like on fire for God, and that's what everyone would talk about. And feeling close to God, it's always feeling like, when you go to a concert, a Christian concert or whatever, or a camp, you'd feel close to God, but you didn't actually do anything. So I'll be back in a sec. So I got my high school file, and where was I? So we'd just go and everyone would be on fire, and then it's back to life as usual. And what I started to notice lately is that there's an idea of having grace with God, and trying not to feel guilty. A lot of authors out there, evangelical authors, they'll talk about, and televangelists and everything, what they seem to talk about the most is getting free of doubt and guilt and just feeling bad in life. And it's all about how you feel, how good you feel, and then therefore that means you're good with God or something. And there's a lot of messages out there that I've seen that are about knowing that you don't have to feel a certain way because Jesus paid it all or something. And I never really understood grace in general, because where's the transformation? And so they'll have this message of grace, and then to get around just having that, because obviously people are gonna believe that they can do whatever they want, there's this idea of a transformation that's supposed to happen in your heart, and the Bible says this, and so they use like the verse where Paul says a new creation, when you believe in Jesus, you believe in Christ. So that's what they do, and so they have this. It's like the idea that when you become a Christian, have the Holy Spirit in you, you're supposed to transform automatically, I guess. I've heard sermons like that at church. And, the fruits of the Spirit and stuff, all that. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because we're still human, and even when you become a Christian, you're the same person. And me and my friend talked about that as well. You can almost have a double life, and so there's no real theosis in this worldview. And I came to realize that, and it's most of the reason why I have such a problem with it is because there's really it seems like there'd be some transformation, but from my experience and from what I've seen in other people, it's not always true. And so, and you can see it with the well-known Christians. There's still, greed and consumerism and all that jazz that's bad, especially according to Christianity. And I think we as humans in general, but if you have this view, should reevaluate, or at least evaluate it, what really is going on. And so the whole idea of being on fire for God is just a feeling, and that's the idea. And that's why they have guitars and loud music and fog machines and all that jazz. It's just jazz. And it took me, I don't know how long to realize that. I don't think it took long. I never was really a fan of, hands in the air stuff. But when I really evaluate it for what I think, I'm just fairly positive it's not right. If it's right for you, great, but I've done some soul searching and even theology searching, as it were, and and from what my experience, what I've seen other people doing, it's like, come on, man, we know there's something shallow about it, and no one's really admitting it, but it's all for the feeling. And where's the transformation? Where's the real theosis? And I keep saying theosis because that's what it is. It's becoming like God in a way, but it's really partaking in the divine essence, the energies, and realizing that we're all human and we all make mistakes, but there's a love and grace from us, and not just from Christ for everyone, but that's what it is. Once you partake in the divine in a way that just I don't think many people do, it will start to transform you, and you will want to change as well. And so you actually work at it, and there's a big thing in Protestantism, mostly, almost exclusively from any other religion on earth, set of religions on earth, where they say works null. It's like grace alone, faith alone, all that, all the solas, the 5 solas, the Bible alone, like sola scriptura, anyway, all those, and no one else says that. And so there is a work aspect in others, all other religions, it would seem, right path. You got Buddhism, Eightfold Path, Taoism, the Tao, the way. You have Catholicism and Orthodoxy, which also have the way. Jesus Christ is the way. And what's wrong with trying to transform yourself, working for yourself to better yourself for others as well? And I don't think the evangelicals really, they do believe it will happen, but I don't know how the mechanism works in that case, because it's always grace alone. And then you have people that just are like, I'm a sinner, and it's pathetic almost at times. And then you'll have the ones that feel holier than thou because they're not, this or that, and they're both wrong approaches. There's a path, a middle way that's like, you understand what a human is, you understand we're all human, but you also understand that it's you that must make the effort. It's you that has to open your eyes. You're gonna do it. Not even God's gonna do it for you. And so, and then once you start that path, you can partake in His essence, His being in God, God is in you kind of thing, a relationship as it were. But you don't start at that point. You don't start at being perfect in a relationship with God, and that's what a lot of them think. And then, it's the whole grace alone thing. I think it just throws everything off. If you read the Bible, it's not like that at all. There are some verses where it talks about that, and I think to be saved, which is also a continual process, you're not just saved one moment and then forever, because you can turn your back on the divine, the mysteries. You can turn your back on people, and you can turn your back on yourself. So you're not once saved, always saved, because it's a transformation, it's a path, and it's not about the destination. And we just gotta work for it, guys. And so that's about it. It's not about a feeling. This has been kind of a long video, but those are my thoughts. Take it or leave it. I really, more than anything, I believe that is, if we start examining our lives, and we'll stop judging others' sins, and we'll start healing, and we'll start becoming more pure if we let go of all those kind of silly things and look for the theosis and the true faith that we can have, and love our neighbor, and don't turn your back on your neighbor, and also just the good feeling of finally getting to that point where it's a genuine, all-encompassing understanding and love for everyone, and in a way that shows God, or the divine's love for us. So anyway, that's about it for this rough edit. Too long, but I hope you guys forgive me, and I hope it starts something good. So as always, Christos Anesti, and just search for the path. See you guys.